Hey y'all, this is Officer Karen Law Dog reporting live just for subscribers while Charles is still tucked away sleeping. The reason I'm going live without Charles is so that I can get a few thoughts out for y'all without any confusion or talking over or whatnot, because Charles gets turned up. And he's been really turned up over the last couple months with this handyman incident. Folks, the search warrant was unlawful. His lawyers have even said it was unlawful. This happened in May with charges filed and him in jail for 4 days. And then he didn't even have to bail out. And then this thing's been getting drug out since May. Lately, I've been asking his attorney, hey, what about the motion? The motion to suppress the evidence obtained from the search warrant that was unlawful. And I keep getting told it's going to get filed. It's going to get filed. And now Charles doesn't trust me or his lawyer. He thinks like we're in on it, that we're setting him up. And then y'all saw last week, I got served with a subpoena to testify against Charles. Now, when I first saw that document and I saw my name, underneath my name, it says owner of the 2015 Royalty horse trailer. The reason I find this problematic is because if you recall correctly, back in 24, my trailer was arsoned. I know who did it, but to this day, nobody's been charged. Why is that under my name on a subpoena for Charles with the handyman incident? Why? It doesn't make sense. And I asked my lawyer, why am I being, or not my lawyer, but Charles's lawyer, why am I being subpoenaed if the case is going to get dismissed? And we're not getting answers. And we're back in court on Monday. And then what was really weird, what came out of the attorney's mouth was, well, we could do that 1391 or whatever it's called for a psychological evaluation. We've been there, done that. Twice. The 2 previous times that Charles was charged. Why would we do that again? Why would we keep putting somebody through this long-term scam of the county, of dragging them through psychological evaluations when you know it's going to trigger Charles? And then they're going to use that against him to put him on a hold. Why? Because an off-the-books confidential informant, the handyman dishwasher, lied? And because an investigation wasn't conducted when it should have been? If the dude called the cops and said, Charles stole his phone, why didn't they come knock on our door after getting that complaint? Hey, we have a report that Charles stole a phone and it's pinging here, so do you mind if we have a look? And then I would be able to explain my side, what I remember happening. I mean, remember, I just got out from major surgery. Like, they couldn't believe that I had to stay, because most people, they get discharged after that surgery. Not me. I was still under the influence of the anesthesia. But I do remember I just wanted my fucking dishwasher fixed. And thank God I started recording when I could. They walked off the job. Down the yard they went. And then next thing you know, 3:30 in the morning, over a cell phone. And now it's still being drug out. I don't know what to make of it. And I've had a couple of people reach out to me confidentially. They don't understand it either. And then what else pissed Charles off? We weren't even supposed to be in court on Monday. I know I got told the 10th. And if we weren't supposed to be in court on Monday, just this past Monday, but rather we were supposed to be in court on the 17th, which is suspiciously when I'm supposed to appear because of that subpoena. How did that guy know that I was going to be there? I mean, he came right out with that subpoena. The other thing that has Charles a little upset, and I'm kind of questioning it as well, and it just goes to prove the long-term scam, folks. When Charles got upset about why the motion hasn't been filed yet, the lawyer said he has over 700 cases. How the fuck does anybody get fair representation with 700 cases? That's why lawyers constantly trail things, continue things. I'm not ready, and that's how they get around the right to a speedy trial. That's not passing the smell test, folks. A speedy trial means like he should have already been brought to trial. All you're doing is giving the district attorney's office more time to invent shit. I mean, if you force them to be ready for trial within the prescribed time frame without all these continuances because the lawyer isn't ready, well, no shit, he's not ready. He has over 700 cases. That screams corruption and incompetence. Okay? Are they taking on more than they can handle? I mean, come on. Another thing, folks, and again, this is just for subscribers, because y'all pay for the behind-the-scenes shit. Y'all know I was unlawfully arrested last year along with my son. Well, I preserved that claim against the county because none of that shit should have happened like that. We all know Charles has a traumatic brain injury. He has zero filters. When he gets in his episodes, he says and does things that he doesn't even remember saying and doing. And he's always apologetic. Okay, he's never hurt me. Yes, there's been words. There's been things said, but that goes with the territory, and he's told me I can check out anytime I want. But would you do that to your loved one? I signed a power of attorney in 2022 when he knew that his health was declining. I agreed to manage his medical and his legal affairs. Of course, I take care of his financial as well, but still. What, I'm just going to fucking leave him high and dry? You saw what happened when the county made me leave him high and dry last year for 53 days. He was a mess. He almost died. Okay? But during that 53 days, my horse trailer was arsoned. My son's girlfriend's car was arsoned. Through our investigation, we know who did it. There's been no arrests. None. But yet, despite the evidence, record, picture, and video evidence, jailhouse confession included. But yet they'll come after us with no evidence? How does that work? So I preserved that claim, and a local lawyer filed a complaint on our behalf within the prescribed time, but suspiciously it's not showing up on the website. And every time I ask this lawyer about it, I'm being told about how fucked up the court system is downtown. Then I finally said, well, maybe I should just go ask. I was told that that wouldn't do any good. So was there really something filed, or are we being strung along because there's something going on behind our backs that we don't know about? The district attorney's office, Sheriff Donnie Youngblood, they control this town, folks. So what's being done to silence us? Speaking of being silenced, suspiciously, I can only go live now. My ability to post a text, like where you type out what you want to say and put up some pictures, I'm being restricted from doing that. I asked the attorney about it. He said, nobody in this county would have that kind of juice or authority. So why am I being silenced? Why am I being ordered to appear to testify against my disabled significant other, whom I'm the caretaker of? Please, subscribers, help a girl out, because none of this passes the smell test. A couple of years ago, our attorneys that are handling the existing case asked us if we're in fear for our lives. Yes, I've been in fear of my life. You see what they do? Mean justice. Look it up. Lords of Bakersfield, it's no secret. This shit's been going on for decades. So, this is just my paper trail of what's going on behind the scenes that I can't text about. I can't even write a post. I can't even put anything to this. What you see, what you hear is what you get. I can't type shit. When I go back to try to put a narrative to this with all my hashtags, declined. The video will disappear. That doesn't make sense. How about the 2 misdemeanor charges that are currently pending against Charles and I? Allegedly for stalking a Kern County Sheriff's deputy, Cayman Aguirre, who was the one that came to my house and didn't conduct a fair and impartial investigation, and instead lied and said he had a right to come into my house when I had just had surgery and was under duress and under medications. And you're going to come into my house at 3:30 and suspiciously know right where to go to find that phone? How does that work? None of this passes the smell test. And we've called it out. Doesn't mean we're going to go harm you. Yes, so what? We drove past your house. It's a public street. And then he lies and says that I trespassed on his property? No, I didn't. And then the judge signs an emergency protective order, which is why they pulled us over 3 pigs deep downtown on August 1st. And then August 8th, we were followed. And then they surrounded our house and stayed out there for 30 minutes until I called 911. And then 911 tells me to go outside. Oh, hell no. In the dark, so that they could lie and say that they thought I had a weapon, and then take my ass out and get qualified immunity? No way. And when I said I wasn't going out, the phone suspiciously got disconnected, because I guess on 911 they're allowed to hang up on you. And then they all left. They all left. And then they continued to knock on our door, continued to show up at our house. None of this is passing the smell test, folks. And if they can do this to us, just think about what they can do to you. And you know what? We're only doing this to them because of what we can prove they have done to us. Like I've said in previous lives before, I lived a quiet life. I rode my horses every day. I minded my own. And then that shit happened over at Centennial High School with Amanda Abandon, a part-time instructional special needs mobility employee of the district. Abandoned her car in the drive path, obstructed a legally designated handicapped spot intended for disabled persons, and flipped us off and went inside with a lanyard, which shows she was an employee, which is what I called out. And then she comes out and leaves, and we acquire our spot, and old Michael Whiting comes wobbling over, and of course Charles is turned up, and what are you doing, and blah, blah, blah. And Whiting says, this is every day. It's been going on for years. Well, like I said, good thing I know how to file a uniform complaint, because none of this passes the smell test. It's dangerous. It wouldn't even pass a fire marshal's inspection, because if an emergency vehicle needed to get into the parking lot to provide aid, they wouldn't be able to. I mean, I've got video of it. It was a mess. Cars parking in a drive lane on Hageman. And then I'm the bad guy. And then our kids were targeted. We were targeted. And then suspiciously 7 weeks later, they show up on my front door and arrest Charles. Say that they had an arrest warrant for me, but I was cited and released. 3 false and defamatory charges against me, 6 against Charles. Stick him in the back of a cop car on a hot summer day, jack up the heat, see that he's distressed, see that he's knocked out, and not provide any medical aid, and then try to push him through downtown? No. None of this passes the smell test. Oh, and Amanda Irabandon? Sources close to the investigation, and this is all preliminary. I have to vet it, but I'm pretty sure it's our Amanda Irabandon. Couldn't figure out why all of a sudden the lawyers were all yippy-skippy and wanting to settle. Last year before Christmas tried to get us to take some piddly little $50K offer, I think, was on the table. And of course we balked at that. How does $50K compensate us for the shit we've been through? How? No, we'd much prefer to go to trial. We would much rather have this stuff documented than to take any money. But guess what? Our lawyers won't let us go to trial, not without giving them money for costs, depositions. Again, it's all part of the long-term scam. So suspiciously, after, making that offer and saying that that was a joke of an offer and whatnot, then all of a sudden Charles needed a gal, a guardian ad litem, to make decisions for him. Even though I'm his gal, I have power of attorney. It was our attorneys who told us and suggested that we get that. But the judge, Barman, who used to work for the district attorney's office, wouldn't allow it. So then we ended up with the gal that was suggested by this other lawyer. It was, somebody he knew. And now suspiciously, boom, the ink's not dry and the case is going to be settling. And then we find out about these pending charges against their star witness, Amanda Irabandon, who the district attorney's office gave qualified immunity to back in 2022 if she would testify against me and say that I did these terrible things that I didn't do. I didn't disrupt school activities. There's no school activities at the end of the day out in the parking lot, for one. And I didn't disrupt anything. I wasn't yelling. I wasn't screaming. I wasn't cussing. I wasn't threatening. I wasn't doing anything. I was there to pick up lunches and yearbooks. And I got called a horrible mother by Sabrina Fowler, their employee, as I was attempting to leave. So, of course, I went over and confronted her about it. I'm not going to take that shit. Yeah, folks, there's a lot of shit that people don't know. We've been targeted ever since. I mean, this shit happened in 2021 with the school district. 2022 was the Muffin Man. Let me refresh your memory about that, just in case you're late to the game. We're minding our own business. Off-road dirt bikes with minors, no helmets, spinning donuts at the bottom of my street, making all kinds of noise. When I've got new drivers driving a high-profile SUV, I'm not going to have my kids back out and run over one of those little kids, and then my insurance premiums go up, and then we all have to live with that. So, of course, I'm going to tell them to take their damn illegal activity down the end of their street. I didn't know who it was. I just knew they came from down the street. Oh, tried to call it in. Guess what? You have to have a name or an address to file a complaint. All right. We were going to pick up a watermelon for Charles. I'll drive right down past there. I'll flip a U-ey, it's a public street, and I'll find out where they live. And then that's when he decided he was going to hop on that bike and follow us and intimidate us and do the old pole maneuver shit. All right, I'll take you back down to my house where I have surveillance. And then, of course, there was a verbal altercation between him and Charles. And then he sped off. And then back to getting our watermelon, and we happened to see a neighbor out. Hey, do you know who that guy is? You're outside watching. Why don't we see what you know? Well, he didn't want to say anything. Must be scared of the dude, too. I still didn't know who it was. And I'm recording, and he came over and attacked me by hitting the phone out of my hand, which, last time I checked, is against the law. That's assault. I'm using the phone to record for my own safety. Then he picks it up and throws it against that dude's house, who we asked who he was. So, of course, Charles gets out. He's looking for the phone and whatnot. I'm using the other phone to call 911. Charles gets the phone. We leave. We've got the video. We put it up with a bounty, so to speak, a reward. It's really a reward. Hey, let us know who this is. Somebody came forward, said they knew who it was. Turned out to be the Muffin Man. We looked him up. At that time, he was facing 3 felony child sex charges for wanting to show his schlong to who he thought was a 14-year-old boy at an Oildale park. And yes, he had a gun in his trunk. No red flag gun violence restraining order against this guy. And then suspiciously, those 3 charges all went away. I mean, completely went away. You can't even look that shit up online anymore. Because this county protects predators. Look at what they're doing with Scrivener. It's an election year, folks. We're calling out some major corruption, and they're coming after us hardcore. And this is the only way that we can protect ourselves, is to document. So please, just know, if anything weird happens to us, you guys have this. And remember, now that Facebook suspiciously, which I also question the timing, these videos are only good for 30 days. You better download them and save them for future reference, which I've been doing ever since I found out, that Facebook expires videos after 30 days. So I will download them, and they're available on my YouTube channel at Lawdog, LAWDAWG, Lorianne Wiley. I don't operate under fake names like other people do. This is who I am, and this is what we're going through, and none of it passes the smell test. So there you have it. That's what I have to say today. I don't know what's going on, but Monday, supposedly, I have to show up in court to testify against Charles. What the hell would I testify against? I don't understand what they think I have to bring to the table that's going to help them. Unless they're trying to commit Charles. And that's what he thinks they're trying to do. Folks, he's not the first one to have a traumatic brain injury. He's not going to be the last one with a traumatic brain injury. He's got cerebral amyloid angiopathy. Look it up. It's in the family of dementia. It's exactly how he behaves. Folks, I've got hours and hours of video where he has no filters, even with me. Okay? He's never been physical. He's eloped a couple of times. He's even eloped whenever he's not even been in an episode. I mean, just happened. 2-3 months ago. So again, folks, I'm learning as I go. Like, I had no idea that I couldn't leave a key in the car while he waits, while I run inside. I learn as I go. So I'm doing the best I can, given the cards that I've been dealt, given the fiduciary duty that I have to Charles to protect him. I don't know what to say. I would like to hear what you think, though. because, like I said, a couple of people have reached out to me. They suggested I do this video for my own protection, and here it is. So we're still waiting on an arrest for the vandalism. James Ford Holman, registered sex offender coming from Reno and Henderson, Nevada. Why would a registered sex offender from another state come and vandalize my cars? And there's still been zero accountability for that. Again, folks, figure it out. This is no conspiracy. This is legit. What would you do if you were me? What would you think if you were me?